In Unit 4.2, we're going to review how to find perimeter, circumference, and area of polygons. This is something we talked about in Unit 1, but we're going back to it since Unit 4 continues with polygons. So remember, perimeter is the sum of the lengths of all the sides. Circumference is distance around a circle, and area is the number of square units needed to cover a surface. Remember, when you're finding perimeter, circumference, or area to include units in your answer, remember if it's area, your units should be squared. So for area, remember you're doing square units. Here we're going to find the perimeter, circumference, and area of each figure and round to the nearest tenth. You can use a calculator when you're computing these answers. You can use the calculator on your phone, or you can use an online calculator like Desmos. Here for problem A, we're going to find the perimeter. Remember, perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So here I wrote a formula for perimeter, which is A plus B plus C, because this particular triangle has 3 sides. You don't have to write A plus B plus C, but I'm just doing that to show that I'm adding all 3 sides together. So I'm going to add the 2.5 centimeters, 3, and 3.5 centimeters. And then once we're done, we need to remember to include the units in our answer. So I'm going to add 2.5 plus 3 plus 3.5. This comes out to 9. And my units are centimeters. Here it says to round to the nearest tenth. That means 1 decimal. So here we're rounding to the nearest tenth. It would be 9.0 centimeters. Now, when you're finding area of a triangle, the formula is 1/2 base times height. You could also use area equals base times height divided by 2, which is the same thing. So here, if we look at our figure, we need to figure out what our base is and what our height is. So here, the 3.5 centimeters, that's our base because it's on the bottom. The 2 centimeters is our height because that's how high up the triangle goes. So when I'm finding area, I would do 1/2 times my base of 3.5 centimeters times my height of 2 centimeters. Here I'm going to leave the 1/2. If I do 3.5 times 2, that comes out to 7. And now I would do half of 7, or 7 divided by 2. That comes out to 3.5. And anytime you're doing area, remember your units are squared. So instead of centimeters, I'm going to put centimeters squared. And this one's already to the nearest tenth because it's already to 1 decimal place. Our next figure here on B is a rectangle. So when you find the perimeter, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can add all the sides. So we know if this side's 2 feet, this side over here is congruent, so it's also 2 feet. This side's 3 feet, so the opposite side is congruent and is also 3 feet. So one way to do that would just be to add all those sides. We could do 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3. That comes out to 10, and our units are feet. Again, we want it to the nearest tenth, so I'm actually going to put 10.0 feet because we want 1 decimal place. Anytime you have a rectangle, you could also use the formula perimeter equals 2 length plus 2 width. Here we'll see it, we should get the same answer. So 2 times the length, here the length is 3, plus 2 times the width is 2. If we were to work this out, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4, and that adds to 10. So we get the same answer no matter what formula we use. You use whichever one you remember the fastest. For area of a rectangle, you do length times width. Here the length, again, was the 3 feet. And the width was the 2 feet. So it would be 3 times 2, which is 6. And for area, our units are feet squared. Again, we're doing to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to put this to 1 decimal place. 6.0 feet squared. We're going to finish up here with circles. So with circles, you don't have a perimeter. You call it the circumference, and that's the distance around the circle. So your circumference is the distance around the circle. Here, the 4 feet, that's called our radius, r. Your radius is half the diameter, so the whole thing going across here would be a diameter. For circumference, the formula is diameter times pi, so you would actually double the radius to get the diameter and then multiply it times pi. So our diameter is 4 times 2, or 8 feet. So for diameter times pi, I'm going to do 8 times 3.14. You can use a calculator. That comes out to 25.12. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. You want 1 decimal. So since 2 is low, this will stay 25.1. We won't round up. And our units are feet. Next, we're going to find the area of the circle. So here we use the radius. So area equals pi, or 3.14. Our radius, again, was the 4 feet. And you want to square that. So 4 squared means we're doing 4 times 4, which comes out to 16. And now we can multiply the 3.14. This comes out to 50.24. And we're rounding to the nearest tenth. Since 4 is low, it stays 50.2. And our units here would be feet squared because it's area. So just to summarize, when you have circles, remember you can have diameter or radius. If they give you the diameter, like say here they say the diameter is 6 feet, then the radius would be half of that, or 3 feet, and vice versa. So if they give you the diameter to get radius, you divide by 2. If they give you the radius to get diameter, you multiply by 2.